talk, real talk, real talk, real talk, real talk.
Welcome to Real Talk for Real Teens, the show where we uniquely combine the information teens need with the entertainment teens want.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Real Talk for Real Teens. I am Kim Creighton, as always, your Mama C. I have Byron on the line, and are you there, Byron?
Yes, I am, Kim.
So, as I always start my show, I don't introduce people, so just tell my audience who you are.
Who I am. My name is Byron. That is B-Y-R-O-N. Last name is Demery. That is D-E-M-E-R-Y. I'm a native of the great state of Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio area specifically. I'm a young man, parent, father, and author, and I have recently authored a book entitled Forming a Strong Foundation for Your Life. The target audience for that book is ages 12 and up. I think it would be a great fit for your show. And I don't want to talk mainly just about my book, but it is a great book. It has a website, www.formingastrongfoundationforyourlife.com. Get more information about me as an author, a person, purchasing info, of course. Also, you can download a separate sample chapter on the website, and you can read some readers' testimonials on the site. But I've been working with young people the past 6-7 years. Really didn't start off having the qualifications to be a guidance counselor or to be somebody that is working in this field. Just somebody that decided to follow a dream that I had, and I wrote a book. I think it's a great book. I think it's a book that can be read with parents and students and kids at the same time. It's only 64 pages, so for my young people out there, I know some of you don't like to read long books. Some of us adults don't like to read long books neither. It's a book that you can finish, and it could be a great value and benefit for you, and it's affordable, only $5.95.
All right, Byron.
That is kind of who I am.
Okay, so tell us what 21st century skills will you be talking about today?
I will be talking about the 21st century skills of coping and courage.
All right, so before I always begin, I like my guests to give their definitions of the skills that we're talking about, so everybody's on the same page.
Okay. In my opinion, coping, the definition is the ability to continue to adapt to certain situations or a situation. Let me repeat that. The ability to continually adapt to a certain situation or situations for coping. My definition for courage will be the heart/decision to take action despite not knowing the end result or what will happen.
Wow, okay. All right. So we're going to mix these in a little bit. So we're going to talk about coping. That's young people. You don't have very good coping skills because, let's be honest, a lot of times the adults in your life don't have good coping skills, and you haven't learned how to do that. But with that said, to develop that now will be a blessing. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm not even going to talk about the people in your life. Had I developed good coping skills or better coping skills at that age, my life would have taken such a different trajectory. Oh, Lord, I can't even speak today. Trajectory. And that goes into that courage piece you were talking about. Because I couldn't cope, I definitely didn't have the courage to step out on faith, on anything. I was constantly asking for other people's approval, constantly asking for other people's opinions, just not happy with where I was at, not taking responsibility for where I was at, just didn't know how to do that.
Definitely. I agree with what you're saying. A lot of younger people, from what I have seen, and I don't want to say this is in every situation, but obviously a person's environment starts at home. And unfortunately, with a lot of the young people that I've seen in our community, a minority community, obviously a lot of the mothers are single parents. Obviously, they've, had children relatively early. Obviously, due to the barriers of not getting the right amount of education and being able to get the type of job that will be able to afford them to be able to financially support a family, whether they should. That puts pressure on everybody, from the adult in the household down through the kids. So young people nowadays are dealing with things, as you know, Kim, at very young ages. I constantly talk to young people that I've met, or even there in the 4th and 5th grade. I've only ran into one gentleman that had both his father and his mother in the household. Typically, it's a mother. I've talked to a young lady that had an aunt, even a grandparent that was involved in the parenting situation. So for the young people out there, you guys are experiencing a lot of different things that you're called upon to be able to try to cope with at an early age.
And I'm gonna show the other side of that, because that is a part of the thing. But I have a different experience. There are a lot of young people I come across that have both parents in the household, that have this network of support from grandparents and aunts and uncles. I had that. What is missing is no one's helping you develop those skills. Either whether you have your parents your parents are still making your decisions until you get 18, and all of a sudden you're 18, you're supposed to know how to do that. And that's just not how it works. We know that things come when you practice them. So it's just like, you know, up until you go off to college, and some parents are still trying to control that situation. Most parents, people who are making choices for you, are telling you what you can and cannot do, punishing you for things that you can and cannot do, and that makes sense in certain situations. But at some point, there needs to be a place where now, okay, you've shown me. I'm not even going to say age, because age really doesn't matter. But you've shown me disability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway. And I'm going to let you do this thing, and we're going to have a conversation about it. You're going to understand what I'm talking about. So it's not going to be it happens, and then when you do it wrong, I punish you for it. No, we're going to have to sit down and have a conversation and say, hey, I've seen you showing more responsibility in this area, so this is what you need to do, A, B, and C. These are the consequences for the behavior if you do or you don't do it, because the consequences are good, bad, or indifferent. And you practice that until by the age of 18, you have an ability to be independent to a point where 18 is not just getting your driver's license, because that's all you can do at 18, guys, is get a freaking driver's license. Everybody pumps you up as, oh, you're going to be 18, as if some magic bullet happens, some magic dormant cell inside you will just start sprouting on your 18th birthday, and you will have all the answers. And that's where the coping thing comes from. They don't, because I didn't have it. I was terrified when I was younger. When I was in my early 18 and early 20s, and a lot of my 20s, I would not want to go back there knowing, unless I knew what I know now.
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. You know, as parents, you know, for any parents that are listening to the show right now, obviously trying to juggle working and a personal life, or raising a family, and you know, starting a different career, and you know, anything that you're juggling. You might have older parents that you need to watch out for. This personal issues, raising children is not easy. Like I said, I'm a father myself. My children are relatively younger. But Kim, I've just heard what you just said, and I have a daughter that's currently 6. She'll be 7 in January. And I have to start thinking, when she is, as you said, 12, 13, what I want to start teaching her. So when she does graduate from high school, she has the direction, number one, of where she thinks she wants to take her life, number one. And she has some skills, whether it's some financial literacy that we're talking about. You know, maybe taking out the bills that I pay, and show her how I pay the bills and things like that. You know, just showing them.
Because parents get pissed off when they send them off to college and they run up these credit cards. You haven't shown them anything about that. All they know from you is, when I need to purchase, when I want something, mom or dad pulls out the wallet and gives someone this credit card. They have no concept, or they have a very little concept of, okay, it needs to be paid on time, it needs to be this, there's interest to that. They don't think, I didn't think about that. That first week of school, I got an American Express. Why the hell did they give me American Express? I didn't have a job.
Yeah, that's true. And for the young people out there also, you know, a lot of this is a lot on you. in you in claiming ownership for your life. I talk about this in my book, claiming ownership for your life. Obviously, as Tim just said, if you have parents in your house, obviously you're under your parents' authority and jurisdiction. It is their responsibility to raise and guide you correctly. And I'm not disagreeing with that. But at the same time, you are your own individual. Yeah, and I would be remiss to say that, obviously, my daughter's not going to think the same way that I'm going to think. I may think that I know everything that she needs to do, what college she needs to go to, and what she needs to take up for a major, and this and that. But that necessarily may not be true. As smart as I may think that I am, and, I have much more experience in life than she does, and I think I know the way that I should guide her, there is some input that she should be given into those decisions when she gets to that age.
Exactly. And that's how they develop those skills when they have to negotiate their lives on their jobs or in their personal relationships, because they practice with their parents or those people who it's going to be safe for somebody to say, no, that ain't going to happen, and give them a reason why, or they make a mistake and it's okay. Let's sit down and talk about what happened. This is the mistake you made. This is why you made it. Let's try this again. They need that practice, and they need to be able to give meaningful input. It's not just, you ask their opinion and then you do whatever the hell you want to do anyway and disregard what they had to say. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it takes a two-way relationship. Relationship is not always easy, especially when young people are coming to adolescent age, when they begin to have a sense of some independency. Obviously, they can't pay their own bills and support themselves, but they do start to form opinions about the world, about the environment, about themselves. And that's a great time for parents to talk. And parents, I know a lot of times at that age there is a distance that does sometimes develop between adults and children. They want to spend more time with their friends. They seem not to be as talkative. They want to be into doing their own things, but we have to pay attention to, the behaviors of our children. A lot of things that's been going on in the media lately is about the bullying and the suicides that are happening. And a lot of what's happening is the child is getting bullied. The parent may know about it, or they may not know about it. The child might not feel comfortable coming and talking to their parent about it, but there are signs that are showing up that people are not paying attention to. Whether the person just doesn't want to eat, they lose their appetite, doesn't want to go to school, or always complaining about being sick, doesn't want to go to school. Anything that is going on, and there are numerous articles on the internet about these certain situations, but you have to kind of be in tune as a parent. And it takes like an innate ability as a parent just to know your child and pay attention, and to be able to start a conversation in the right way, that the two-way conversation will be constructive.
And there's another thing, and I know that this audience, and that's one reason why I like working with 18-year-olds, because they're adults. I don't need their parents' permission anymore. I can go directly to young people, because this is why it's real talk for real teens. People know that parents oftentimes get in the way of what I'm trying to do to help your young person develop. Because let's say your child, and this happens as a high school teacher, this happens over and over again. Parent-teacher conference, the building is completely empty. I mean, there are very few parents there. But let a teacher take your child's cell phone because they were doing something inappropriate. You will get off your job and come get that child's cell phone. What lesson are you teaching? What message are you teaching your child? Are they learning how to cope with situations when someone in authority says, I need to have that because you're breaking the rules? No, they're not. So when they go on their job and they do that same thing and they end up with no job, they don't understand why.
Yeah, it's a very much even as young people, and I say this with all sincerity, and I just spoke about taking ownership in your life. Even though you turn 18, you have to act like you're older than 18. You have to act like you know, in the sense of that 22, 23-year-old. Yeah, you can't do some things that a 22, 23-year-old will be able to do, but your mindset has to begin to transition, and that should be something that should be happening before you reach the age of 18, so you have some type of direction and idea about what you want to do and have a knowledge. I'm with you, Kim. I went to college. I got credit cards, that I could not pay and messed my credit up. Fortunately, I've been able to build it over some time, but nobody actually sat me down and explained to me what was credit. And, you know, this is how
Mm-hmm.
it works and how it's important. And not to knock my parents, I think they did a very decent job in raising me as a child. But I wish they would have
Exactly.
me into that financial piece that is very important. Sometimes your credit is bad, you can't get a job. Obviously, you can't get finance for certain things and get business loans and things that can possibly create opportunities for you. But because of some mistakes you've made due to ignorance, I don't think you would make them necessarily if you knew exactly what you were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
It
like
can
student loans, these things, like student loans, these things you're making choices. You're making financial choices at 18 that's going to affect you. That could potentially affect you in your 40s and 50s. No one's telling these kids that because no one told me that. I have student loans out the crapper, and if I would have known that, I would have got the bare minimum. But no, I was told, hey, this is how much you can get, so I took the maximum, of course.
Yeah, and I think one of the 21st century skills that you talk about is critical thinking. That's kind of where that falls into play.
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
I agree with you.
And it's that thing when you're saying, like, my parents did the best they could. It's the thing of they're trying, and I had it took me a long time to come to terms with this, because what they did was in their desire to protect me from the world, there were things that I needed to be protected from. But in their desire to protect me from the world, they protected me from making my own mistakes. They protected me from learning from those mistakes had I made them. They protected me from information because they didn't think I was ready, or they just didn't want to have the conversation. So they had the best intentions overall of, you know, this is my child, I want to protect her. There needs to be a balance or some kind of harmony, because yes, under your roof, you have this protection mode. But at some point, your goal as a parent is to get them out of your house, and that's what we're not preparing them for.
Yeah, it's like you said, and like you said, I understand what you're saying with your parents, and you think they did the best they could. You being older now and looking back in your life of some of the methods that were used, you may have tried to do some things differently. And I think every parent said that maybe they could have did things different, but you do the best that you can do, you know, and you learn from your mistakes. Exactly. So, and I have to look at myself now, piggybacking on what you just said, you know, looking at myself and what I'm going to try to teach my kids, maybe some of the things, definitely incorporate some of the good things that my parents instilled in me, no doubt about that, but also looking at some of the things that they did not expose me to and trying to expose it to my kids, so I think that I can raise them the best way that I see fit at this time.
And then that goes into that second 21st century skill we're talking about is courage. Because if I've had practice at something, then I'm more courageous to do it again or do something similar. But if it's something that's totally, completely foreign to me, yes, I'm going to be very fearful of how I'm going to look, how it's going to turn out. Am I going to fall flat on my face? Are people going to laugh at me? People going to talk about me? All kinds of things. But if I've had some exposures of, I tried that, it didn't work. Yeah, I bumped my head a little bit. It hurt. People laughed at me. But you know what? I survived. If I have that as a part of my DNA now, because I know, oh, God, I can survive. And that's a lot of things. You know, when you're young, everything is so big. Everything is so dramatic. So when you break up with somebody, it seems like it's the freaking end of the world. And then when you're 30 years, and in your 30s, you don't even remember that girl or boy's name, but it's so real for you at that moment. If you've had experiences of, I went out for this team, and it didn't make it because I didn't have this, so I had to do that. And then did I make it next year? No, I didn't make it because I still didn't have the skills, but I was determined, so I got the skills. And then if you have that, you can always have that as when you're coming up against something. I've done this before, or I've done something similar to this before. And even if I wasn't successful or not, I survived it. So I can try this thing.
That is like I can't put a price tag on what you just said. It's invaluable. For the people that listen to this show, please listen to this point. It is invaluable. I talked about self-confidence in my book, and the backbone of self-confidence is courage. And a lot of young people, a lot of people have been in fights. You remember the first time they ever been in a fight, you're real nervous, didn't know how it was going to turn out. You might have lost, you might have won. So once you got the edge off, next time you're ready to fight, you weren't as anxious. You went into the point where you were just reacting, not thinking as much. And just like anything else, when you do something, and the first time that you do it, you don't know how it's going to turn out. Me personally, I'm trying to work on public speaking. I never growing up was good at speaking in front of people. But at this point in now, what I'm trying to do, I have to begin to develop that characteristic. So the more people that I talk to, the better I get at the skill. I'm calling people, not asking to speak in front of people. I'm not running from it. Just run it.
Exactly. You got to go through it.
I used to
you have
be
to go through it.
Doing in order to address it. And the better I get at it, the more comfortable I get. I develop a skill that I used to didn't have. That develops your self-confidence. But it starts with courage and being able to say to yourself, hey, I'm weak in this area, or I'm scared of doing this. But say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and address this anyway. I don't know how it's going to turn out.
Exactly.
I might be embarrassed by doing it. I know I'm not good at it. Historically, I might have not done well, but I'm going to go back and try to have the courage to go back and do this again anyway, and try to do something differently. Try to do something that I'm not normally used to doing. I'm going to challenge myself.
Exactly.
I'm going to challenge myself.
And that goes back to what you were saying about taking that personal responsibility, because even if your parents haven't challenged you, at some point you need to take responsibility for yourself, and because everybody else is. Once you get out on your own, no one cares about what your parents told you or whatever. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't fit into my agenda, then it doesn't work for me. So if if you're on my job, you work for me. You can't call your mom. You can't call your dad. You can't call granny. So you need to figure it out. So if this is something that you're weak in, or even if you have an interest in it, like I've started to code because I realized I just really love computers, and I'm really interested in how things are built. So you know what? There's so much free crap on the internet, like code.org, all this stuff. I'm learning how to code for free. Get out there and do it. No one has to know what you're doing, and all of a sudden everybody's like, where did you get that skill from? Because you've been practicing it behind their backs. They have no clue. And you go out there and you go out there and show your butt, and they're like, oh, my God, look at that.
Yeah, and you will be amazed, if you're able to do some things like that, amazed how much better you'll feel about yourself.
I was going to say, that builds confidence, man.
Yeah, that's real confidence right there.
Yeah.
That's something that you develop in your own that can't nobody take from you. It's part of your inner self, inner being at that point, and it's hard. It's concrete. It's not soft, because things are soft when you have ideas and words, but when you got action behind it, they become concrete. They become solid. Yeah. And that's the thing you can hold on to.
And then that's that thing about, again, when you come up against something that's similar, or it could be something that I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it could be something that has nothing to do with what you know, but because you practice in a totally different arena, that I've practiced something, I got better at it over time, and now I mastered it. You now know you can do that in other things. Think about when you first learned how to ride a bike. Did someone put you on a 12-speed right away? No, you started with a tricycle. Then you moved up to something with some training wheels, and then somebody took the training wheels off, but they were holding that bike behind you. And then you went around that block for the first time. Oh, my God, that was just the best feeling when you went around that block for the first time by yourself.
Yeah,
and now you're driving a car. And think about that. Now you're driving a car.
Now you're driving a car. Any parents out there that, used to be young and they were riding your bike. I remember, Kim, when I first learned how to ride a bike. And you're in your parents' car and they're driving, you're seeing all the things they got to do, and you're thinking like, man, how am I going to do when I finally get a chance to drive a car? And now as adults, you're driving the car every day, all day. And it's a maturing process.
And get pissed because you're in traffic. You don't think about the marvel of what it was when you first learned how to drive a car.
Yes, it's a different feeling, but it's all part of maturing. And like you said, young people, you guys have to grab what you want. You have to grab what you want. Is it going to be easy? No. Are there going to be a lot of people that may not definitely support you and believe that you can do what you're trying to do? Yes, you will have doubters and people that will be pessimists. And some of those people might be people that you're close to that might think that you really might have bit off too much more than you could chew at this point in time, all depending on what you're trying to do. But you have to have that inner confidence, inner strength, that no matter what comes up against you, you know how to cope and deal with it.
Yep.
You have to.
Well,
if you build your self-confidence, you will be able to.
So on that, we're going to take our break, and then when we come back, you're going to give us our 3 tips for young people in the areas of courage and in areas of coping.
Sounds good.
New or unknown music artists, we need you for the show. If you'd like your own mini concert, please send a request for information to realtalkforrealteens@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook at Real Talk for Real Teens and on Twitter at RTFRT Radio.
All right. So I'm back with Byron, and we've been talking about courage and coping, those 21st century skills, and he's going to give you some tips, guys, on how to develop those skills.
My first tips, my tips for coping, and once again, coping, my definition for coping is the ability to continually adapt to a certain situation or situations. I think one of the first things that young people can do positively is in the morning, have a positive mindset to your day. Start off with a positive feeling about yourself. You know, don't worry about what you may have going on that day. You might have a hectic schedule, some things you might have to encounter. In the morning especially, maybe try for 10, 15 minutes at the most, just thinking positively about the day and counting your blessings. Thank God that you woke up that day. Thank God you're alive and you're well. Think of the positives. A lot of times we think of the negatives of what we don't have and what we're up against. I want you to try to think positively, especially in the morning before you start your day. Get you some quiet time and just have some positive meditation. That's my first, tip. Secondly, learning how to deal effectively with anger or hurt. Anger or hurt. Anger or hurt is something that we all feel, whether you're a young person or an adult. But I tell you now, if you don't learn how to cope with it, it will affect your decision-making. Emotionally, you will not be stable where you can move forward and do certain things in your life. You have to learn how to deal with anger and hurt. That comes with some part of forgiveness as well, but you have to learn how to deal with that. If you need to talk with somebody, then please seek to talk to somebody to do so. That's my third point. Don't hold inside anger and hurt. Don't hold it in. If you need to talk to a parent, if you don't feel comfortable to talk to a parent, talk to a friend that you think will give you some sound advice, another adult, please keep in mindful of the resources that you have around you. A lot of times people come in and out of your life for certain reasons. You may have talked to or met an adult at a youth program or a church or an event that you went to. Keep in contact with those people. That might be somebody that you need to run across to have a conversation with certain things about. But you need to talk to somebody in coping with the situation. And a last thing I would say is before you go to bed at night, kind of have a reflection about your day and what you did. Once again, I want you to try to take the positives out of your day. You may have had some things that didn't go the way you want them to go. That's fine. Everybody's days are like that. Everybody's life is like that. But I want you to open your day and close your day with some positive meditation. And if things didn't go right the way you want to, say, hey, it's another opportunity. We'll get it next time. I want you to start thinking positively about yourself. Not the things that are wrong, the things that are right, and to start counting your blessings. Those are some of the things I think you can really do to help cope on a daily basis. Once again, make sure that you talk to somebody if you need to. Let that anger hurt out because you don't lead to depression. And depression is not a good thing for anybody to be dealing with. And depression, of course, will lead to other negative effects for your life. Make sure that you do talk to somebody, possibly, hopefully an adult, somebody that you trust. It doesn't have to be a parent. It doesn't have to be a family member. It can be, of course. But make sure that you let those feelings of anger and hurt out so it doesn't affect you to do something or make a decision that you later regret later on. And
thank you, Byron. Oh, go ahead.
No problem.
Sorry.
And for courage, I have 3 tips for courage, too.
Oh, go ahead.
Once again, my definition for courage is the heart/decision to take action despite not knowing the end result or what will happen. like I told you guys before, in my belief, my opinion, courage is the backbone or builds the foundation for one's self-confidence. You have to be courageous because your self-confidence is the inner belief in yourself. And if you believe in yourself, you might have 1,000 people that don't believe in you, but that one belief in yourself and the help of God will take you a long way in life. It will, if you learn how to cope and have that belief. So it's something you definitely have to develop, number one. Number two, we talked about it in the show, be willing to try new experiences. Be willing to do things that you may not be normally used to doing, things that may be unfamiliar or seem difficult. You know, you may be afraid of hesitant of doing. If you're a shy person, maybe sign up for a speaking class where you have to speak in front of people. If you're a person that, you know, doesn't get grades in school, and I'm hoping I'm not talking to people like that, look at those subjects that you're doing poor in and say, hey, next semester I'm going to really have a concerted effort to raise these grades, particularly in these subjects I'm not doing well. I'm going to attack the problem. Anything else that you feel that you need to address, try some new experience, or maybe it's something you've been wanting to do that you think that you need to go ahead and try it. Yes, you don't know how it's going to turn out, but try it anyway. Have the courage to go ahead and try it anyway and see what happens. At the end of the day, you will survive. You will survive, and you'll look back at what you did. Of course, you can assess how the experience went, and guess what? I guess if you wanted to try that opportunity again, you could, but you have to try a new experience. You have to do that. And I want you to understand that when you first try to do something different or try a new experience, you will have some doubt. There's going to be some initial doubt there. That's my third point. There is going to be some initial doubt there. There's going to be a small part of you or maybe a big part of you, all depending on how much you develop your self-confidence. That may say, hey, I can't do this. Or I really don't know if I want to do this or not. I may fail. Those doubting type of questions come into your mind. But I want you to be courageous enough to suppress those feelings and those questions and move forward anyways. Move forward anyways. You might be trying to take a new job, and it's something you might not have a lot of skill sets in, but somehow you got a job in that. And you'll be going to say, well, how am I going to perform? Hey, should I take this job? Yes, sometimes people don't want to apply for a job because they worry about if they don't meet the qualifications or not. Apply anyway. You might be on the job and there's a room for a promotion, but it might be something you're not sure you can handle. You might not be used to managing people, but you might have that hesitancy. Will I be able to succeed? Go ahead and apply and try anyway, because that experience you're going to gain can be something you can use down the road, and that's something that definitely will lead to your better development. So you have to be willing to confront your fears and have to be willing to go ahead and suppress that initial doubt and be courageous enough to move forward in life and try new experiences and try different things. Those are my points for those two 21st century skills.
Well, wow, this has been a great conversation. I thank you, Byron, for coming on the show. I wish you all the best in what you're doing and working with young people. And if you could just give us your website again, and people can go to your website and get all your information.
Yeah, my website is www.forming a strong foundation for your life.com. That's forming, FORMIG, a strong foundation for your life.com. Like I said, you can go there, read more about me as an author and in person, download a sample chapter of my book. Also read some readers' testimonies. If you're interested in purchasing the book, you also have a purchasing link there with purchasing information as well. Thank you very much for Kim for having me on the show. Best of luck to you in your efforts of trying to work with the young people. Young people, this is your time. Is on people like me and Kim to instruct and mold you, but the future is going to be determining your livelihoods and what you do. So please understand that. Take ownership from it. Learn, be ambitious, make good decisions, and move forward and be willing to work hard.
Well, thank you so much, Byron, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And, again, as I said, much success to you. And I think you have this public speaking thing down, dude.
I'm trying. I'm on the phone with you right now on the radio, but I'm definitely trying to. So if you guys see me on YouTube or something, I get some videos up. Also, the book is on Facebook as well, and you can follow me on Twitter at Demery50 on Twitter as well. I'm definitely trying to step out into some different arenas and fulfill my purpose of what I think I should be doing at this point in time in my life. So I appreciate the opportunity, Kim, and hopefully we'll cross paths here in the future.
All right. Take care.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The Real Talk for Real Teens community is the premier membership organization for young professionals. Real Talk for Real Teens community provides the most comprehensive resources and education designed to advance the skills, integrity, and value of its members as professionals. Become a member at www.rtfrtc.com. Thank you for listening, and join us every Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern for more Real Talk for Real Teens.